Good morning everyone. Today we are going to discuss about the plant kingdom. So under the plant kingdom, we are going to discuss about algae, bryophytes, pteridophytes, gymnosperms and angiosperms. So now let us start with the algae. So here algae, they are chlorophyll bearing, they are chlorophyll bearing simple thalloid, simple thalloid autotrophic autotrophic and largely aquatic in nature. So here they are considered as the thalloid autotrophic organisms. So algae are simple chlorophyll bearing autotrophic thalloids. So thalloids means their body is not well differentiated, right? So here, so algae may live as a free living, or they may live as symbiotic association. So here algae live as symbiotic association with fungi, together known as lichens. Lichens. So here, if algae live as a symbiotic association with fungi and together known as lichens. Lichens. So here lichens are the good pollution indicators. So in lichens, so two organisms live as symbionts. One is a algae and other one is a fungi. So here algae provides food to the fungi, whereas fungi provide shelter to algae. Right? So algae is a chlorophyllous autotrophic organism, whereas fungi is a non-chlorophyllous heterotrophic thalloid. Right? So here algae occur a wide variety forms, that is the form and size of algae highly variable. So here colonial form, if you take colonial form, so colonial forms like volvox and a filamentous form, very important for NEET point of view. Filamentous form, that is Eulothrix and Spirogyra. Eulothrix and Spirogyra. Eulothrix and Spirogyra. And few are marine forms. Few are marine forms, that is they form massive plant bodies, that is scales, also called laminaria, also called laminaria. So if you look at into the reproduction of algae, so it occur by means of vegetative reproduction, asexual reproduction, sexual reproduction. So vegetative reproduction is mainly by fragmentation, and asexual reproduction, the most common spores are the zoospores. So asexual reproduction by the production of different types of spores. So most common being the zoospores, most common being the in asexual reproduction, most common being spores are the zoospores. And here these zoospores are the motile in nature, because they are flagellated, and on germination gives rise to new plant. And if you look at into the sexual reproduction, very important. So this sexual reproduction asked many times in the examination, NEET examination. So here the sexual reproduction occur by means of three ways. That is isogamous, anisogamous, oogamous. Iso, aniso, oogamous. So isogamous. So here isogamous. Isogamous means similar size gametes, the fusion between the similar size gametes, similar size gametes. So iso means similar. So fusion between the similar size gametes is known as the isogamous. So here examples for this isogamous is the Ulothrix and Spirogyra. Ulothrix and Spirogyra. Here Ulothrix is motile whereas Spirogyra is non-motile. Remember, very important. So Ulothrix is motile and Spirogyra is non-motile. That means Ulothrix is flagellated, that is why it is motile, whereas Spirogyra is non-flagellated, that is why it is non-motile. And next, but these two are in similar in size, that is why they comes under the isogamous, right? So next, anisogamous, anisogamous. So fusion between the dissimilar size gametes, fusion between the dissimilar size gametes. So here fusion of two gametes, so which are dissimilar in size. Remember, examples are very important. So isogamous examples, Ulothrix, Spirogyra. Anisogamous example, Eudorina, Eudorina. So they belongs to the green algae, Eudorina, green algae, whereas isogamous, Ulothrix, Spirogyra also comes under the green algae. Right. Next, another type is a oogamous. Another type is a oogamous. Oogamous. So oogamous means so here fusion between one large non-motile okay, female gamete, whereas the fusion between the large non-motile female gamete and a small motile male gamete. So fusion between the one large non-motile female gamete and small motile male gamete is termed as oogamous. Examples for oogamous, that is volvox and fucus. Volvox and fucus. So along with this volvox and fucus, other examples are the red algae. Exclusively red algae comes under the oogamous type. So volvox, fucus as well as red algae, members of red algae, all the members of red algae. So Rhodophyceae. So what are the examples for red algae? So Gelidium, Gracilaria, Polycyphonia, Parphyra are the examples for red algae. Okay. Right. So here some examples, some diagrams were given. Some diagrams were given of algae. So based on the pigmentation, algae are classified into three groups, that is green alga, so green algae, also known as Chlorophyceae, green algae also known as Chlorophyceae, Chlorophyceae, and brown algae, also known as Phaeophyceae, Phaeophyceae. So brown algae, also known as Phaeophyceae, that is brown algae, and red algae, known as Rhodophyceae. Rhodophyceae. So green algae, brown algae, and red algae. So here the first diagram indicates the Chlorophyceae members. One is a Volvox and Elothrix. Volvox and Elothrix. In state syllabus, another diagram is given, that is Pyrogyra diagram is given in the state syllabus. So Volvox, Elothrix. So Volvox is colonial form, Elothrix is a filamentous form. Right. So next brown algae. So the first diagram is a laminaria, which is also known as kelp, and second diagram is known as the fucus, and third diagram is known as the dictyota. So laminaria has holdfast, stipe, and leaf-like structure frond, and holdfast has some midrib, prominent midrib is observed in the fucus as, and that is some these patches, white color patches are known as the air bladder. So this one, air bladder, very important. Images are very important for NEET point of view. And a dictyota, which has finger-like projections and so many branches are present. Easily we can identify this image, dictyota. Right. Next, red algae. So this one is a Porphyra, and this one is a Polyciphonia. So which looks like tree, possesses branches and main axis. So the algae which looks like tree only observed in red algae, that is Polyciphonia. Right. And if we talk about the economic importance of algae, economic importance of algae. So here algae are useful to man in a variety of ways, that is at least half of the total CO2 fixation on earth carried by algae, that is through photosynthesis. So being photosynthetic, they increase the level of dissolved oxygen in the immediate environment. And another important thing is they are producers of energy rich compounds. They are the producers of energy rich compounds. And another important thing is so here many species of Porphyra, laminaria, sargassum. Many species of Porphyra, laminaria, and sargassum are among the 70 species of marine algae used as food. So half of the CO2 fixation on Earth carried by the algae through photosynthesis, and they are the producers of energy-rich compounds, and uh, Porphyra, laminaria, sargassum are among the 70 species of marine algae used as food. And next, so here they can produce hydrocolloids, which are water holding substances. They are used in medical surgicals, that is algin and carrageenan. So here, so these are the water holding substances: algin, which is extracted from brown algae, and is extracted from carrageenan extracted from red algae. So they are used commercially in the medical surgicals. So very important, algin is the product of brown algae, whereas carrageenan is product of red algae, right? Next, very important, agar. One of the commercial products obtained from Gelidium and Gracilaria. Gelidium and Gracilaria are the seaweeds. So through these seaweeds, agar is extracted, and this agar is used commercially in the preparation of ice creams, jellies, and also used to culture microorganisms in the laboratory environment. In culture means grow. So culture in laboratory. So culturing of microorganisms, to grow the microorganisms. So this agar is used in laboratory environment as a nutrient medium, and chlorella, very important, chlorella, spirulina, so which are rich in single cell proteins, SCPs. They are rich in single cell proteins, and they are used as a food by astronauts. So they are used as food supplement by space travelers or astronauts. So the algae are divided into three classes: Rhodophyceae, Phaeophyceae, and Chlorophyceae. So based on the pigmentation. Now let us uh, talk about in detail about the different classes of the algae. So here, so there is a table is given. First let us look into the table, very important. And here, right. So divisions of algae and their main characteristics. So here classes are given, that is Chlorophyceae, Phaeophyceae, and Rhodophyceae. So Chlorophyceae, the common name of Chlorophyceae is the green algae, whereas Phaeophyceae common name is brown algae, and Rhodophyceae common name is red algae. And here we need to remember major pigments of different classes. If you look at into the Chlorophyceae, the major pigment is a chlorophyll A and B, chlorophyll A and chlorophyll B. Whereas Phaeophyceae, the major pigment is chlorophyll A, chlorophyll C, and fucoxanthin, as well as xanthophyll. Okay, chlorophyll AC, fucoxanthin, as well as xanthophyll. And here for Rhodophyceae, it is chlorophyll A, D, and R phycoerythrin. R phycoerythrin. These are the major pigments. Next, stored food material. Stored food material. In Chlorophyceae, the food is stored in the form of starch, and in Phaeophyceae, the food is stored in the form of mannitol and laminorin. And in Rhodophyceae, the food is stored in Floridian starch. The food is stored in the form of Floridian starch. Very important. So this Floridian starch is structurally similar to amylopectin and glycogen. It is a NEET previous question. So Floridian starch is structurally similar to which are the following, that is amylopectin and glycogen. So here this Floridian starch is found in the red algae, whereas in Phaeophyceae it is mannitol and laminorin. In Chlorophyceae it is starch. Next, so cell wall Chlorophyceae. So cellulose and pectose, the cell wall components. And here in the Phaeophyceae, cellulose and algin, whereas in Rhodophyceae, cellulose, pectin, and polysulfate esters, and carrageenan. So cellulose, pectin, polysulfate esters in red algae, cellulose and algin in brown algae, cellulose and pectose in green algae. Next, flagella number and their position. So 2 to 8 equal in size and apical in nature. The position is apical. That means, so flagella present at the apical terminal region. And here in brown algae, the flagella 2, they are unequal, they are present laterally, unequal. So number of flagella 2, and whereas in green algae 2 to 8, and they are equal, they are present at apical region. And in brown algae, the number of flagella 2, and they are unequal in size, they are present lateral side. And very important, in Rhodophyceae, flagella absent. Very important, flagella absent. And habitat, so Chlorophyceae, freshwater, brackish water, salt water, and Phaeophyceae, freshwater, rare. So freshwater, rare, remember, very important, and brackish water, salt water. Rhodophyceae, freshwater, brackish water, so most salt water. Rhodophyceae is found in mostly in salt water. So Phaeophyceae rarely in fresh water, most in brackish and salt water, right? So this is about the table, and apart from this table, there are some other important points are there. In Chlorophyceae, we will find pyrenoids. Pyrenoids are the storage bodies, and in Phaeophyceae, pyriform gametes are found, right? So here, if you look at into the Chlorophyceae, the important points are so the members of Chlorophyceae are commonly called as green algae. The plant body may be unicellular, colonial, or filamentous. They are usually grass green due to the dominance of pigments chlorophyll A and B, as we had already seen in the table. The pigments are localized in definite chloroplasts. Chloroplasts are present, and the chloroplast may be discoid, plate-like, reticulate, cup shape, spiral, or ribbon shape in different species, in different species. So reticulate chloroplast is found in the Oedogonium. Disc-like is found in the Chara. Cup shape, Chlamydomonas. Ribbon shape, that's Spirogyra. So in different species, different shapes of chloroplasts are found, and most of the members have one or more storage bodies, very important. So these storage bodies are called as the pyrenoids. Storage bodies are called as the pyrenoids. They are located in chloroplast. Location also important. They are located in chloroplast. And pyrenoids contain protein besides starch. Pyrenoids contain protein as well as starch. These two are very important. Pyrenoids are the storage bodies. They contain protein as well as starch. So here some algae may store food in the form of droplets. So some algae may store the food in the form of oil droplets. Oil droplets. So cell wall is made up of cellulose and pectose. So here cellulose is the inner layer, whereas pectose is the outer layer. Outer layer. And examples are very important. That is Chlamydomonas, Volvox, Elothrix, Spirogyra, and Chara. So remember the mnemonic CCSVU. So put some mnemonic and easily you can remember the examples. So CCSVU. So Chlamydomonas, right? Chara, Volvox, sorry, S means Spirogyra, V means Volvox, U means Elothrix. Chlamydomonas, Volvox, Elothrix, Spirogyra, and Chara are some of the examples. Apart from this, we will get Eudorina, right, and other Cladophora. So some other examples also will come across during the other chapters, right. Next, Phaeophyceae. So in Phaeophyceae, uh, here the pigments. So pigments are the chlorophyll A, chlorophyll C, carotenoids as well as xanthophylls. Very important. Chlorophyll A, chlorophyll C, carotenoids, and xanthophylls. Right. So they vary in color from olive green to various shades of brown depending upon the amount of xanthophyll pigment fucoxanthin present in it. Okay. Right. Next, another important thing is so here the food is stored as complex carbohydrates, very important. In brown algae, the food is stored in complex carbohydrates, so that is in the form of laminarin or mannitol, laminarin and mannitol. And here the plant body is usually attached to the substratum by holdfast and has a stalk, that is stipe, and a leaf-like photosynthetic organ, the frond, which we had already seen in the diagram. So this is the holdfast and stalk, and it is a leaf-like appendage frond. Laminaria. So which can grow above 90 meters, 100 meters height also. So vegetative reproduction mainly takes by fragmentation. Already we had talked in the general characters, and we need to remember the most important thing is that is asexual spores are the pear shaped and have two unequal gametes. Okay. So asexual spores, that is zoospores are the zoospores. So zoospores are the most common in asexual reproduction, and these zoospores are pear shape, and here sexual reproduction may be isogamous, anesogamous, or oogamous. So union of gametes may takes place in water. Union of gametes may takes place in water or within the oogonium, that is oogamous species, and the gametes are pyriform, that is pear-shaped gametes. So sexual reproduction gametes are pyriform. So usually they are pear-shaped gametes, pear-shaped gametes. So pear-shaped gametes are found in the Phaeophyceae. Remember, very important. Right. Next, Rhodophyceae. So in the Rhodophyceae, we need to remember some important points regarding the Rhodophyceae. That is, sexual reproduction in oogamous is accompanied by the sexual reproduction in oogamous. Sexual reproduction is oogamous, only oogamous. So other examples for oogamous type: volvox, fucus, and red algae. So this sexual reproduction is oogamous and accompanied by complex post-fertilization developments. Very important. So complex post-fertilization developments takes place in red algae. And the common members are Polysyphonia, Porphyra, Gracilaria, and Gelidium. Porphyra, Polysyphonia, Gracilaria, and Gelidium. Right, and this year 2025 question from this area. So here red algae are multicellular. The red thalli of most of the red algae are multicellular, and they occur in both well lighted regions close to the surface of water and also at great depths in the ocean where relative light penetrates. So ఇవి సముద్రంలో డెప్త్, దట్ మీన్స్ లైట్ పెనిట్రేషన్ లేనటువంటి ఏరియాలో, అలాగే లైట్ అవైలబుల్ ఉన్న రీజన్లో కూడా దే కెన్ గ్రో. సో దే అక్కర్ ఇన్ బోత్ వెల్ లైటెడ్ regions close to the surface and also at great depths in oceans where relatively little light penetrates. That means తక్కువ లైట్ ఉన్న ఏరియాలో కూడా ఇవి గ్రో అవ్వగలుగుతాయి. And here flagella is absent. That is why the red algae usually reproduce vegetatively by fragmentation, and they reproduce asexually by non-motile spores and sexually by non-motile gametes. Remember, very important, non-motile spores and non-motile gametes. So this is about the different classes. So in the IPE point of view, so differentiate between brown algae and red algae. It is a 4-mark question, and economic importance of algae, that is important. Coming to the Bryophytes. So here Bryophytes are called as the amphibians of the plant kingdom. They are called as the amphibians of the plant kingdom because they can live in soil but depend on water for fertilization. And they usually occur in damp, humid and shaded localities. So here they are the primitive relatives That means they are the first land plants. They are the first land plants. Bryophytes are the first land plants, and here they play an important role in plant succession. They play an important role in plant succession on bare rocks or soil. So the plant body of bryophytes. So here the main plant body is a gametophyte. The main plant body is gametophyte. So here the main plant body is a gametophyte, and sex organs are male sex organs are antheridium and female sex organ is archegonium. This antheridium produces the antherozoids, and these antherozoids are released into water and they reach the mouth of the archegonium. So where these antherozoids gets fused with the egg and results in the formation of zygote, and this process is known as the zooidogamous oogamy. Zooidogamous oogamy, right? So here zygote do not undergo reduction division immediately. Zygote do not undergo reduction division immediately. They produce a multicellular body called as sporophyte. Sporophyte. The sporophyte is not free living. Remember that the sporophyte is not free living. It is attached to the gametophyte for nourishment. For nourishment. And the sporophyte bears three parts: foot, seta, capsule. Foot, seta, capsule. And here the some cells of the sporophyte undergo reduction division. That is some cells of the sporophyte undergo reduction division to produce the haploid spores. These spores germinate to give rise to gametophytic structure. Gametophyte or gametophytic structure, right? So here, so this is a gametophytic, which is a free living, and sporophyte is it is a not free living. It depend on gametophytic structure, and this gametophyte bears sex organs. Sex organs are present on the gametophytic structure. So root like rhizoids, stem like colloid, leaf like phylloids are present in the bryophytes. So here, so this gametophyte is free living, whereas sporophyte is not free living. So the main plant body is the gametophyte. Gametophyte is a main plant body, whereas sporophyte is not main plant body, and it is not free living. It depend on the gametophytic structure. So here gametophyte bears sex organs, that is male and female sex organ. So that results in the fusion and that results in the formation of zygote. So zygote does not undergo reduction division immediately, and here, so that zygote produces a multicellular plant body called as sporophyte. This sporophyte bear some cells. So these cells undergo reduction division to produce a haploid spores. So these spores are present in the capsule. So when the capsule is dispersed, the spores germinate to form a gametophytic structure, and the cycle continues. And here The economic importance of bryophytes, so very little economic importance, that is they provide food for, so economic importance, for 4 marks in IPE, that is economic importance of algae and economic importance of bryophytes. So they provide food for herbaceous mammals and as well as birds. And another important thing is a species of sphagnum. It is also called peat moss or bog moss. It is also called as a peat moss or bog moss. So here they provide peat that have long been used as a fuel. So used as fuel, they are used as fuel. And here another important thing is so this sphagnum is used for transshipment of living material for longer distance due to its water holding capacity. It is used for transshipment. So transshipment of living material. So because of their capacity to hold water, that is hygroscopic. So neat question. సో స్పాగ్నమ్కి ఏ కెపాసిటీ ఉండడం వల్ల దీన్ని లాంగర్ డిస్టెన్స్లో ట్రాన్స్షిప్మెంట్ కొరకు యూజ్ చేస్తామని అడిగిండు. సో అక్కడ వాటర్ హోల్డింగ్ కెపాసిటీ అని ఇవ్వలే, ఇండైరెక్ట్గా హీ యూజ్ సమ్ అదర్ వర్డ్స్. సో అక్కడ ఇచ్చిన వర్డ్స్లో సూట్ అయ్యే వర్డ్ ఏంటంటే హైగ్రోస్కోపిక్. రైట్. సో హైగ్రోస్కోపిక్ మీన్స్ వాటర్ హోల్డింగ్ కెపాసిటీ. Right. And another important thing is so mosses along with lichens are the first organisms to colonize rocks, that is bare rock, and they are involved in the primary plant succession. So that is where they have some ecological importance. And here, so since mosses form dense mat on soil, moss on soil, and they reduce the impact of falling rain, and prevents the soil erosion. So these are some of the economic importance of bryophytes. They provide food for herbaceous mammals, birds. Sphagnum is also known as peat moss or bog moss. So here this peat moss used as fuel, as well as this sphagnum used for transshipment of living material due to its water holding capacity. So that particular term is hygroscopic, and they show some ecological importance. So mosses along with the lichens are the first organisms to colonize bare rock, that is they are involved in the primary plant succession, and they reduce the impact of falling rain and prevents soil erosion, because this mosses forms a dense mat on soil. Okay, right. Next, the bryophytes are divided into three classes. Bryophytes are divided into three classes. Bryophytes are divided into three classes, that is liverworts, mosses, and in state syllabus another class is there, that is hornworts. So liverworts also called as hepaticopsida. Hepaticopsida. Mosses also known as Bryopsida, whereas hornworts also known as Anthoceropsida. Hornworts. This is a third class. So there are three classes, but in NCERT, so liverworts and mosses given. In NEET point of view, these two are enough. Those students who are preparing for MCET, so they also consider hornworts. So liverworts, so hepaticopsida. So the liverworts grow usually in moist, shady habitats such as banks, seams, marshy ground, damp soil, bark of trees, and deep in the woods. The plant body of liverwort is thalloid. Very important. The plant body of liverwort is thalloid. Example, Markantia. The thallus is dorsiventral. The thallus is dorsiventral and closely oppressed to the substrate. Closely oppressed to the substrate. And the leafy members have tiny leaf-like appendages in two rows on the stem-like structures. So that two rows are also called as dichotomous branch. And asexual reproduction in liverworts takes place by, very important, it is 2025 question, NEET question. So asexual reproduction in liverworts takes place by fragmentation of thalli or by the formation of specialized structures called gemma. Very important, gemma cups. So gemma, in singular we call it as gemma, in plural gemma. So gemma are green multicellular asexual buds. Very important, gemma are green multicellular asexual buds which develop in small receptacles. Just they looks like a cup shape, and called gemma cups. They are located on the thalli. So the gemma became detached from the parent body and germinated to form new individuals. So during sexual reproduction, male and female sex organs are produced either on the same thalli or on different thalli. So male and female sex organs are, male organ is antheridium, female organ is archegonium. So they are produced on the same or different thalli. So here the sporophyte is differentiated into foot, seta and capsule. So after meiosis division, spores produced within the capsule, these spores germinated to form free living gametophytes. So the spores dispersal is done by the special cells known as elaters. So elaters disperse the spores. So these spores germinate to form free living gametophyte, which is the main plant body of bryophyte. And here the sporophyte is not well differentiated, not well elaborated in the bryophyte. And we have diagram. So look at the diagram. So this Markantia is given. Markantia is given example. So Markantia, which is a dioecious plant. That means, so male and female sex organs are present on different individuals. It is the female individual and it is a male individual, and female individual possess sex organ archegonium, whereas a male sex organ possess antheridium. That means here sex organs are produced on different thalli, not on same thalli. And another example for this uh, liverworts is Riccia. So this Riccia is not mentioned in our textbook, so no need to remember this Riccia, just remember the Markantia, right? So these are the two row leaf-like appendages, leaf-like structures, and they possess gemma cups. So these are the gemma cups. These gemma cups are usually green, multicellular, asexual buds. Multicellular, asexual bud. So when these gemma cups are detached from the parent body, they are developed into new individual. They can develop into new individual. So remember the diagram, very important. Next, mosses. Come to the mosses. So we had discussed about liverworts, then mosses. Right. So here the predominant stage of the cell cycle of moss is a gametophyte, that is a main plant body is a gametophyte. So which consists of two stages, and here this so here gametophyte consists of two stages. Gametophyte consists of two stages. The first stage is protonema stage, very important, and the second stage is leafy stage, very important, very important. So the first stage is protonema, so which develops directly from spore, directly from spores. The spores are formed from capsule, capsule. Okay. So here, so they are directly from a spore, and this protonema stage is creeping, green, branched, and filamentous stage. Okay, creeping. This protonema is creeping, green, branched, and frequently filamentous stage. And the second stage is the leafy stage, leafy stage. So which develops from the secondary protonema as a lateral bud. So leafy stage is developed from the secondary protonema as a lateral bud. They consist of upright slender axis bearing spirally arranged leaves, very important. Upright slender axis and bearing spirally arranged leaves. So they are attached to the soil through multicellular and branched rhizoids. This stage bears the sex organs. So leafy stage bears the sex organs, that is male and female sex organ. Right. So vegetative reproduction in mosses by means of fragmentation and budding in the secondary protonema, very important. So vegetative reproduction is by means of budding and fragmentation in the secondary protonema. Sexual reproduction, the sex organs, antheridia and archegonia are produced at the apex of the leafy shoots. After fertilization, the zygote develops into sporophyte. So here the sexual reproduction is a zooidogamous oogamy. Zooidogamous oogamy. That means antheridium releases the antherozoids into the water and they reach the archegonia. Thereby, the fusion of male and female gamete takes place and it results in the formation of a zygote. So, that zygote develops into a multicellular plant body called sporophyte. The sporophyte contains mainly three parts: fruit, seta, capsule. Fruit, seta, capsule. The sporophyte in moss is very important. The sporophyte in mosses is more elaborate than liverworts. The sporophyte is well differentiated in Bryophyceae, in mosses. So the capsule contain spores and these spores are dispersed by peristomial teeth. Caps are dispersed by the spores are dispersed by peristomial teeth, whereas in liverworts the spores are dispersed by elaters. Here the spores are dispersed by peristomial teeth. Spores, so dispersed by peristomial teeth. And sporophyte is more elaborated than liverworts. So the capsule contains spores. Spores are formed after the reductional division. So the mosses have an elaborate mechanism of spore dispersal, that is peristomial teeth involved in the spore dispersal mechanism. And common examples of mosses are Funaria, Polytrichum and Sphagnum. Funaria, Polytrichum and Sphagnum. So here Polytrichum is also called as hair cap moss. Polytrichum is also called as hair cap moss, whereas Funaria called as curd moss, whereas Sphagnum is called as the peat moss or bog moss. It is very important. So peat moss also known as, so Sphagnum is also known as peat moss or bog moss. So whereas Polytrichum, hair cap moss, Funaria, curd moss, right? So remember the examples. Examples are very important. And another class, as I said, that is hornworts. The third class is hornworts. So hornworts is also known as Anthoceropsida. Right. So here sporophyte bears food instead of seta. There is another one. The seta is replaced by intercalary meristematic zone. Intercalary meristematic zone, and third one is a capsule. So sporophyte contains three parts: foot, intercalary meristematic zone, capsule. Whereas in mosses and liverworts, sporophyte contains foot, seta, capsule. Right. So here another thing is so here for the spore dispersal, pseudo elaters are present. Pseudo elaters are involved in the spore dispersal mechanism. In liverworts, elaters involved in the spore dispersal, whereas in mosses, peristomial teeth involved in spore dispersal, right? And sporophyte contains food, seta, capsule in liverworts and mosses, except in hornworts. This is important for MCET point of view, right? So diagrams are very important. So this A and B indicates Markantia. So A is the female thallus, B is the male thallus. Female thallus, male thallus, and this C and D indicates the that is mosses. A and B indicates the liverworts. Example Markantia. So C indicates Funaria, which is also known as curd moss, D indicates the sphagnum, and here the root-like rhizoids, stem-like colloids, leaf-like phylloids, and sporophyte contains foot, seta, capsule. So this foot is embedded in the gametophytic structure. This sporophyte is not free living and it is dependent on gametophytic for their nourishment, right? So, and next sphagnum. So this is a archegonial branch, and these are the branches. They are the antheridial branches. Remember, so antheridial branches, and these are the archegonial branches. Images are very important, right? Next, right. So once recap the examples of algae and bryophytes. So examples of chlorophyceae, that is Chara, Chlamydomonas, Spirogyra, Volvox, Elothrix, whereas in Phaeophyceae, that is Dictyota, Ictocarpus, Sargassum, right? Fucus, Fucus laminaria. So Ictocarpus, Dictyota, laminaria, Sargassum, and Fucus. So Rhodophyceae examples: Polysyphonia, Porphyra, Gracilaria, and Gelidium. And in Bryophytes, for the liverworts, the given example is Markantia, whereas in mosses the given example is Fineria, Polytrichum, Sphagnum.